Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to my next Pokemon sets video. You guys voted, and the Pokemon that came out on top for 2nd gen was Noctowl. So here today I have two Noctowl sets for all of you to hopefully try out and enjoy. So without any further waiting, let's get right to that with this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Noctowl sports the normal flying typing, which is a pretty common typing among bird Pokemon that you meet very early in the game, which you do with Noctowl in Gold and Silver. But it does have three abilities, the first of which is Insomnia, which is an ability that makes it so that you cannot be put to sleep, whether you using the move Rest or your opponent using a move like Sleep Powder or Spore. And it is very cool, especially because of the fact that a lot of those Pokemon that do learn the sleep-inducing moves are grass types, which Noctowl could be immune to with Insomnia, and then hit back one of those Pokemon for super effective damage because it is a flying type. So that is a strategy you could implement with this Pokemon, though not something that I'm going to go into today in this video. As for its second ability, it is known as Keen Eye, which is an ability that makes it so that your accuracy can never drop, which is kind of useless in competitive battles just because a lot of Pokemon don't really resort to using accuracy lowering moves. The only one that you're probably going to see is Night Days, and even then, that's only on one Pokemon or Smeargle, so it's not going to be that common. But for its last ability, Noctowl is very fortunate to get the ability Tinted Lens in the Dream World, which is an ability that makes it so that moves that are not super effective will be treated as neutral damage instead. So if you use a flying type move on a rock type, it will be neutral instead of resisted. However, if it is a move that is 4 times resisted by the Pokemon's type, for example, something like Bastiodon, which is Rock Steel, it 4 times resists flying, so with the Tinted Lens ability, it actually just only resists it as if it was just a regular resistance. So that is something to know of, or to point out when using this ability, but overall it is fantastic for Noctowl because it allows it to now be a pretty spectacular special attacker if it gets the chance to set up. But for the stats, Noctowl does have a really great HP, being base 100, meaning that it's going to be very high and allowed to sponge hits fairly well, but unfortunately suffers from a base 50 defense, so it won't really be able to take hits that well from the physical side. However, for its special defense, it is lucky enough to have a 96 base special defense, meaning that Noctowl will typically be used as a specially defensive Pokemon, and on a more offensive set can take special hits fairly decently because of its natural bulk. As for its attacking stats though, it only has base 50 attack, so it's not really going to be doing too much from the physical side. However, its base 76 special attack is definitely usable and something that can work extremely well in combination with the Tinted Lens ability. And lastly, it has about average speed, being base 70, so Noctowl won't be too fast on its own, but it will be able to outspeed a bunch of things if you do give it a speed investment EV spread. But with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video today, which is a set that makes use of the move Psycho Shift. So for this first set, we're going to start by giving Noctowl a Calm Nature to increase its special defense but lower its physical attack, and for the ability we're going to be going with Tinted Lens. As for the EVs, we're going to put 248 in HP to give us our highest HP number that is odd to allow us to deal with Stealth Rock Switch-ins just a little bit better. And we're also going to be putting 252 EVs into our special defense to give that its max special defense possible, with the remainder 8 EVs in our speed to make us just a little bit faster. And as for the item, we are going to be going with a Flame Orb to inflict the burn status upon Noctowl. As for the moves of the set, the first one that we're going to be making use of is obviously going to be Psycho Shift, like I hinted at before, which, if you don't know, is a move that allows you to pass your status onto your opponent. So what this does in this case is we will get the burn to activate on Noctowl and then Psycho Shift a burn over to an opponent. And since Noctowl has a pretty weak physical defense, as I made note of before, more often than not, a physical attacker is going to want to come in on Noctowl, and you can burn it when it switches in to try to deal with you. Which is really cool because this allows Noctowl to take physical hits just a little bit better if it does get the burn off, and also provides some really awesome support to the rest of your team. As for the next move, it could either be a combination of Nightshade or Air Slash, depending on what you want. Obviously, Nightshade cannot hit normal type moves, or normal type Pokemon, but it's a solid 100 base damage every time. Whereas Air Slash will have, super effective type coverage and everything, be stab and have a chance to flinch. However, it doesn't have a set damage like Nightshade would, but with Tinted Lens it can also be very useful because you don't really have to worry about things resisting it. So it's whichever one you want to go with. It's pretty much up to you. Both work equally well. As for the last two moves of the set, though, we're going to be making use of Rest and Sleep Talk, which in itself is really great because it allows you to again make use of Psycho Shift, because if you rest with Noctowl and then Sleep Talk Psycho Shift, you will pass your sleep status on to your opponent, thus basically being able to cripple two things at the same time, whether it be through burn or through sleep. So this is a pretty cool, unique utility Noctowl set that you can run with it, and it's really great because at the same time, while being able to inflict status upon your opponent, you can also stall things out because of rest, and you can also take hits from the special side pretty well because of your ridiculously high special defense with this EV investment. So overall, this is a solid defensive set to use with Noctowl if you want to deviate a little bit from just a normal specially defensive set with Roost. And it's a lot of fun to use, and something I felt like was common at one point, but now I see no trace of it anywhere, so I figured I had to post it here. As to this next set, we're going to be giving Noctowl a more offensive role in battle. So we're going to start by either giving it a Modest Nature to increase its special attack and lower its physical attack, or a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack. And for the ability, again, we're going to be going with Tinted Lens. For the EVs though, this time we're going to put 252 EVs into its special attack, 4 for its special defense, and 252 EVs into speed to give us its highest special attack and speed possible. And for the item, we're either going to go with a Silk Scarf or a Choice Scarf, depending on what you use as your last move slot in this set. Silk Scarf obviously being the item that will increase normal type moves by 20%, and Choice Scarf being the item that locks you into one move but increases your speed by one stage. So for the moves, the first one that we're going to be using on the set is Air Slash, which is going to be Noctowl's main stab attack for the set, right off the bat at least. It's a 75 base power special flying move with a 30% chance to flinch, so you can't really go wrong with it. As for its second move though, we're going to be making use of a very underused move in my opinion, known as Echoed Voice, which is a move that increases its power by 40 points every single time you use it, starting at a base of 40 power. So effectively you can get a move that is 200 base power after using it 5 times, which is really awesome and possibly one of the most threatening things you could run into because of how powerful this move can become over time. And for the last move on the set, depending on what you go with, we're going to either go with Hidden Power Ground or Fighting, depending on which you want basically. I prefer Ground because it allows you to hit electric types super effectively, but Fighting could be good because it allows you to hit ice types super effectively, both of which will hit you for super effective damage. But overall, this move on this set is basically there to hit the like 3 things that you're going to run into that will quad resist your Air Slash or Echoed Voice. So that basically being like Bastiodon and Probopass. Obviously there are others, but that's there to hit those 4 times super effective. And for the last move slot, you could either go with Agility or Shadow Ball. I recommend going with Agility, obviously, if you're going with Silk Scarf with a Modest Nature, because that'll make you pretty darn fast and as powerful as you can be because of the Modest Nature. Whereas if you go with Shadow Ball and a Choice Scarf, I would go with the Timid Nature. Shadow Ball is basically there to hit Ghost types super effectively. But because the main idea of the set is to use Echoed Voice as much as you possibly can, basically all the other moves are there for coverage. And it is important to note that after 3 Echoed Voices, that will be more powerful than Air Slash if you're using the Silk Scarf set, even if it's super effective. So that is something to point out. Also, if you switch up moves while using Echoed Voice, the counter resets back to 40, so that is also something to be aware of when you're using the set. So now with that, I have a clip of a match I had recently where I used the set, except I basically just used Echoed Voice the whole time, and you can see how this move can become increasingly powerful as it goes on over time. So things start off where I bring in my Noctowl and basically just go for Echoed Voice. This Miltank wants to Heal Bell and Milk Drink and things like that, but as you can see, my move is just becoming increasingly more powerful as I use it. So I'm able to actually take out this Regice because it's increasing in power, despite it being ridiculously specially defensive. However, because of my natural special bulk, I'm actually able to live an Ice Beam from it. But now I'm basically at 5 uses of Echoed Voice, so I'm able to one-shot the Weezing and then finish off the rest of the team there. So that is just basically a really quick clip. It's not really set particular because I just used one move. It's basically just how to use echoed voice. But you can see it works incredibly well on Noctowl, and because of the Tinted Lens ability, you can continue to use it to its full effectiveness even on things that would resist the echoed voice. But that is it for this video, everyone. So as always, thank you all for watching. For my next video, I guess I'll do a third, or my next sets video for that matter, I'll do a 3rd gen Pokemon since I'm just kind of going through. Try not to pick something I've already shown already because a lot of you have been doing that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So as always, thank you everybody for watching. Take care, goodbye, and I will see you next time.